But let's have a look at Champ Select and see whether anything changes here on the side of OMG or King, whether we're going to have some interesting bans. But OMG, they don't want to see that first pick Nidalee.
No, they're respecting the Nidalee jungle that we saw Loveling use to a great extent. I expect that to be a recurring ban after he showed such great pathing on that champion. Great understanding of Nidalee jungle. Definitely fits in his playstyle compared to the more passive types like Clear Love and other junglers in the LPL.
Yeah, and LeBlanc is going to be the next change up here from King. They don't want to see Cool on that champion. Assassin was bullied to no end, and he just kept getting kill after kill after kill in that mid lane. Cool was just going off. Lissandra going to join the ban list as well as Kassadin. Both of these guys regular sittings on that bench. And Kalista going to be taken off the board yet again. King really respecting that pick.
I feel like in general, Kalista's been a big factor in the LPL. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily resulted in the results you'd see for the respect that pick's given yet. But clearly a lot of these champions, at least in scrims, you'd have to imagine, given all the bans, really prioritizing and respecting that Kalista pick.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be the Rek'Sai ban yet again coming through from OMG. They did ban it both times, so probably just don't want to play against it, but we've seen it work out very, very well regardless of the fact that she's been nerfed just a little bit, in conjunction with Lulu especially. Fantastic for those double knockups, but King going to pick up Janna, who slipped through the ban phase.
There's quite a lot of champions that slip through because we've seen adaptation bans going here. We haven't seen many LeBlanc bans tonight. Still, of course, a fairly often recurring ban. The adaptation Kalista ban has started to free up some champions. Of course, Gnar still available, has seen quite a few nerfs by this 5.2 patch. The nerfs do add up. It's not quite the immovable force in top lane he once was, but still a very potent team fighter. Jarvan's been largely untouched, so Loveling moving back onto the meta picks with the Jarvan here would make a bit of sense.
Yeah. And Jarvan available. Lee Sin also still available here. MLXG not going to be targeted on that champion just yet. Going to lock away the Maokai, where we'd normally say definitely a top lane pick, but maybe not.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes it's the jungle, right? Like
that's true. That's true.
It's
seasons past.
In seasons past, but the flex pick Maokai.
Very fast switch back over to the Jarvan. Was thinking about the Lee Sin, was Loveling. Not going to this time as Assassin mulling over a Sivir pick, and Sky going to hop back on that Rumble. And despite the result of that last game, it was, you know, very, very quickly dealt with by OMG. Fantastic style, but Sky was probably looking like the saving grace here for King on that Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, he's been consistently performing well on that champion. Of course, only one series to really draw upon, but it was one of the cornerstones of their victory over LGD, adding a champion to his pool and really performing surprisingly well. And his equalizer was so on point. None of that really mattered. It was such a quick snowball last game that kind of his power really was irrelevant. I mean, he opted into the rush on the Leandries, which is a bit curious, I guess, given the game. When you're against a rotational AD carry like Uzi's Sivir, you kind of want to pick up movement speed just to be able to match it as much as possible. Ahri's been locked in, and this is cool here. His comfort pick was always that Ahri in the mid lane. Happy to blind pick it. In a situation where he needs to blind pick it, we speculated it'd be cool to bring out Ahri, and that's the result.
And it'd be Ahri to bring out Cool as well, perhaps. And Ahri, fantastic on this 5.2 patch as well. She's so strong, getting that movement speed after using the Q. The nerfs to come through in 5.3 have not hit, ladies and gentlemen. So that Foxfire is still going to be hitting for large amounts of damage. Of course, the range of her ultimate, as far as getting that damage down, has definitely been still further than it is currently. And King now need to round out their lineup. Assassin possibly going back to his Azir, has picked it up a few times, but the look on your face there, Papa Smithy, says that that might be a dangerous choice there in the mid lane.
I mean, it just reminds me of other metas where if you go for those controlled champions, you eat a charm, anything can happen. She's so strong on this patch. Just because her Q and offensive ability gives you so many defensive options. So easy to dodge skill shots, sidestep abilities with that burst of movement speed. That hasn't been touched, even the subsequent 5.3 patch.
Yeah.
But look, they needed to blind pick something for the mid lane. Nothing has ever been safer consistently than the Ahri. Look who's available at the 5th pick. With Jarvan already locked in, the Narvan combo is already a potential. I think you were for one saying, alright, it's going to be the top Maokai this time, but nope.
No. And it's going to happen yet again, ladies and gentlemen, as Gnar's going to be locked in, unless it's going to be the Gnar support coming down. But Low had a great game on support Maokai. I'm just baffled by OMG's willingness to pick up this support champion. And King, they need to figure out what they can do, because when he's twisted advancing at you, you can't monsoon him away until after he's got there.
It's true. Your timings have to be very, very specific there. It's not like the Leona Janna lane when you can say Q disengage there just because he's untargetable for that channel time when he goes through. But, I mean, take a step back. This is Uzi on Vayne again. So already I was primed to be like, okay, Vayne against Sivir. That doesn't sound like much fun. But we get another one of these matchups where we know so like little about the Vayne Maokai synergy that's coming out from this team. I can only assume that they want to dodge a 2v2. But, I mean, OMG are going to do whatever they want. Let's be real here.
Yeah, they are. They most certainly are. And they were trying to go for a 2v1 matchup. That's one thing that we need to remember is the fact that OMG moved to that top side. King spotted it out, opted in for that 2v2 and got a little bit wrecked up there on the top side of the map, irrespective. But this time, they may decide to go for that 2v1. This might be part of their strategy in utilizing this Maokai, which they didn't manage to do in the last one because they didn't have to, of course.
And look, 2v2, it'll be fine. And 2v2, if Vayne can get to that Blade the Ruin King before she has to face Sivir, she's very, very strong in that lane. It's just early. The lack of wave clear versus the Sivir is very, very painful.
Oh, it's very difficult. And you could imagine that perhaps that spell shield could be useful. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get onto the Rift. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chinese LPL. King taking on OMG for our final match of the night. OMG already up one game, and that first one was done in decisive fashion. And King looking to bounce back now against, yet again, the Maokai support.
Yeah, the tree, its jungle was its original home. It transitioned to the top lane, and now the bottom lane, being that supportive Maokai. I believe when you type support into the client, Maokai does come up, so maybe that's what OMG have been doing with their support choices. But
maybe Lowe sort of has a new account now. And he's only got...
Just unlocked Maokai and thought, this guy's pretty good.
Oh, finally managed to get this champion. He looks really fun in the support role. But, I mean, on the other side here, I mean, Spell Shield going to be fantastic. Very sort of telegraphed is those... oh, actually, Liam going very low in this bottom side. The flash afterwards as Lowe's going to tank up a tower shot. But, wow, a flash already and a heal.
Yeah, a flash and a heal. You have to think it could have been one or the other, but the communication clearly wasn't on point between Wushin and Liam. The whole thing that happened there was just Janna face-checked a brush with Uzi in it, and he literally auto-attacked the Janna almost to death with no CC available, of course, with the tumble to cancel his auto, but wow. I mean, that's just going to warp this lane matchup even further. We can never have a standard 2v2 lane between the Vayne Maokai and the Janna Sivir.
We just want to see how it goes, guys. You know, it's part of the learning experience.
I'm learning over here, guys.
Assassin going to be farming out this mid lane here against Cool. A difficult matchup for almost any champion as far as Ahri is concerned on this current patch. Orbit Deception going to be walked out of the way off here by Assassin. But Assassin is a great Azir player, and we'll see what he can make of this particular matchup. Low using that Relic Shield, healing himself, and Uzi up there just a little bit here in this bottom side. But so far, King still hanging out here. Actually a CS advantage in favor of OMG, and they're pushing King back.
Yeah, they're able to get the push on. I guess you have to assume that King have to play from the behind just because they're behind two summoners in a 2v2 situation, so they're being corralled out, and that's why this lane matchup, again, standard is not a word I want to use, but hitting level 2 first is a massive boost against a Sivir lane.
Oh yeah, and it's a massive boost for Maokai as well. He wants that Arcane Smash. He wants the Twisted Advance in order to get him in amongst it. And we'll see. Of course, this is going to be fantastic for OMG if King push out this lane, because it gives Loveling an opportunity to come in, but he doesn't need it as Low just going to Twisted Advance straight on top of Wushin. Uzi taking so much damage in response, finds himself in the brush, and he's going to be okay, but the trading power of Sivir is still working out here in this lane.
And the lane matchups, the bot lane accepted, are definitely in OMG's favor. You'd always take Na over Rumble just because he has the ranged auto attack and can really harass him in lane. I'd take Ahri over the Azir in mid lane, although it's a pretty close matchup. Azir has so much zone control, and Ahri has that short to medium range that Azir does have options. But from level 6 onwards, it'll change, and Loveling's going in.
Yeah, Loveling is in the mid lane. If we're going to have a look at it, there it is. Assassin going so low, and he's just going to die. The flash still available. Had to use the heal, but not wanting to waste a summoner. Nice start for OMG.
You have to question the awareness to not be able to counter flash the EQ combination coming in from Loveling. It just might have been right at the corner of his screen, but he gives away his life with his flash available here. It was always going to be a hard lane matchup till level 6, especially with a low-pressure jungler like MLXG's Rengar right here. You'd have to think they were going to play pretty passive until the the thrill of the hunt was available. But now that the snowball starts here for Cool, this lane could go very poorly for Azir.
Yeah, actually more fighting here on the bottom side of the map as MLXG has found his way in. The heal going to be popped from Uzi, and Low getting taken down low. Uzi trying to come back in here as the ricochet is hitting across the minions and the members of OMG, but MLXG unable to really capitalize down here, and they sort of really had to get a kill. King needs a break somewhere on this map.
You do realize that was King being harassed out of a 3v2 situation by the Vayne Maokai lane, which now is just growing and complete. It's going to be something that we'll refer to in many years' time, but yeah, Maokai in the support role, Atlas.
Yeah, it just seems to be the best right now. Of course, Janna has seen time on that ban list. I could imagine that now top-tier support being this Maokai, especially in the hands of Lowe's, just knows exactly the limits of this champion in the support role.
I haven't seen such an impressive debut in the LPL since many moons ago, actually, at the start of the Shyvana top that really started to push its way through the LPL from Yancer and other scenes. But Maokai's doing really, really well. It has been seen in competitive play before, but actually going to it as like a regular go-to pick, irrespective of the AD. You know, it's not just, say, a Caitlyn Maokai where the support is almost irrelevant in that lane. The Maokai's doing a lot of work here.
Yeah, and you get those free wards as well in the sapling, so you're going to be able to spot this Rengar coming through, at least up until he gets that ultimate, and you can stealth past. Wushin actually coming through does have a shield, but it gets popped almost immediately. Trading still quite nicely here is King on the bottom side. But Uzi able to play up, and he's 4 CS in the lead in a Vayne lane against Sivir early on, and that seems to be unheard of. Loveling wants to come around here, hasn't been spotted out just yet. Now he's going to be seen by the ward. He's actually going to proc his little Raptor buff, but he's not going to clear that one away. Of course, that ward is going to fade out right now. Slayem going to take an arcane smash to the face.
You mentioned the fact that they're able to overextend this lane. You were surprised they were able to play so confidently. It's lovely. He's already gone for a completed side stone before even finishing the machete upgrade here. A pink ward and 2 green wards down in the red side jungle for King right here. There's no way that Rengar will be able to come to this bot lane unannounced, so he can just farm with complete safety.
And this might be OMG noticing the fact that maybe this Maokai can get himself a little bit harassed here as going down very low in this top side. Sky using that scrap shield to help him trade with those boomerangs, but he's going to force going out of lane here for now as Loveling's going to find his way in here. Liam's going to fall down. Uzi picks up the kill. 2v2. Wushin does answer that one as, oh my goodness, it wasn't a great equalizer coming down from Sky as he used that teleport. Not going to be able to pick up anything but that answering kill, but getting the kill onto Uzi as opposed to Liam, probably pretty good here for King.
Yeah, going instantly teleports to top just to control this wave. Now, of course, Rumble will have to walk back top. I can understand what he was doing. He was thinking that OMG would continue to go aggressively, but the moment they turned around, the space control ultimate just had no effect.
Yeah, no level 6s to be hit by the bottom lane of King just yet. Of course, we are still very early in this game. It's going to be happening relatively soon. Uzi heading back to lane, has that Bilgewater Cutlass, the makings of his Blade of the Ruin King, and that is going to be when Wushin's life gets very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, in a long lane, especially if they can take down this turret, which of course is OMG's bag. They love taking down the outer ring of turrets. You have to think they'll set up Uzi for a split push, and although Sivir has so much move speed, if he's able to steal away the on the hunt move speed with the Blade of the Ruin King, easy trade kills coming out for Uzi.
Yeah, and despite the death in the mid lane here, Assassin's been having a decent time on this Azir. Been able to keep that farm up, only 3 behind in a lane that he died in. Which is very, very admirable. MLXG going to fall down very, very low, trying to help out with this blue buff, but he's going to be fine, of course. Jungle creeps not quite the same as an enemy champion.
So one of the things we've mentioned in a lot of OMG games is how much space Loveling opens up with wards to protect going in a 1v2 situation or in an unfavorable lane matchup. But now that he's winning, OMG actually do it with the bot lane. They know that Uzi Vayne is something that can be camped, something that can be held behind. So it's all these wards on the red side jungle just to defend the 2v2 lane. I love their warding patterns because it shows exactly where they think the maps are strong and where they're going to struggle.
Yep, and they are going to use it to secure the first dragon of the game here as well for OMG. It was in full vision from King. Did spot that with a cute little ward at the back of the pit. So they are going to know the timer for that one when it comes up next. And is it going to be a neutral objective snowball like it was in the last game? Of course, OMG had complete control. They managed to take the Baron for free, every dragon for free. As Low just going to go aggressively here, posturing himself forward in this lane. And Uzi with a little bit of a level lead on his lane partner, able to have that final hour available for any skirmishes that do break out here on the bottom side.
Yeah, the tank battle continues in the top lane. Not too much to speak of there. Again, impressive that Azir has been able to CS so well. Clearly, no gank pressure coming out from Loveling in the mid lane is a loud call. Just to farm safely, he hasn't been trying to get any harassing. The medium range does make it difficult for Ahri to get the harassing before the all-in trades because she has to eat the Sand Soldier damage coming out from Azir. But still, it's commendable that after dying, is able to lead the CS in this lane.
Yeah, and of course, Assassin able to get pretty instant harass down as well with that WQ combination, as you just need to get that auto attack and the command attack here as well from those Sand Soldiers. It's going to cutely get the last little bit of CS and going to head back to base as well. And yeah, I like it from Assassin here in the mid lane, and not sort of being countered by the extra movement speed from using that Q out of Ahri.
So the first Through of the Hunt is now available. Level 7 is MOXG, so he does have a lot of gank options. You look down the lanes here, and in terms of setup CC, there's not a lot to speak of. In fact, when it comes to ganking lanes, it's going to be a lot of work on Rengar to provide the CC and ganks. It's usually at his strongest when he has setup CC in the lanes that the Empowered Bowler Strike can be the secondary CC to confirm the kill. But it's definitely going to be a lot of heavy lifting required for the Rengar to get the CC in the lanes.
Oh yeah, Loveling hanging around in this mid side as well, looking to try and put some more pressure on Assassin yet again. But Wave is pushing very far into his base, and it's going to be more than okay. Just farming underneath the turret is Assassin. Loveling going to transition towards this bottom side of the map now as MLXG's waiting for the possible ult hunt combos from Wushin and himself. See whether he can make something happen here on this bottom side.
No wards whatsoever in their red side jungle. They're clearly staying away from this part of the jungle. It opens up a lot of space for OMG to make a pick.
Thrill of the Hunt has been popped here. MLXG looking for that empowered bowler. They do have the exclamation mark. Low getting taken down very far, very quickly. Ventral Maelstrom really helping him out as far as staying alive. He's going to try and pop it for some extra damage. Final hour has been popped here as Going's found his way in amongst the fight. Gets slowed down by that bowler, and the boulder going to find Wushin here as well. The flash into the wallop. Oh, and the nah. It gets whiffed as Wushin with a fantastic spell shield stopped the beginnings of that stun. And Going just going to walk away, tail between his legs, feeling a little bit silly.
The team fight mechanics coming up from Liam right there were massive. The Monsoon actually stopped Going mid-jump right there, which was massive. And we see in the transition, Assassin's in trouble, but the charm just misses.
Yeah, beautiful Emperor's Divide as well. Cool, unable to use his Spirit Rush in order to get through that one. It's not a blink ability, ladies and gentlemen. You actually moved, so you would get bounced back. It'd be very embarrassing.
It's no Twisted Advance.
No, it's not one of those. It's not the best champion in the game, Maokai, who can be used to great extent in any lane ever. Oh my goodness, OMG.
So they overtake the top objective right here. The first turret, of course, were completely shut out of both turrets and dragons last game working. So it's important that they pick up their first objective in this game just to start the Global Gold Snowball. In fact, they're 500 gold ahead, which, look, given how the first game went, they'll take that.
Oh, yeah, they'd be very, very happy, of course. OMG pulling ahead very early, and it might be the curse of the Uzi Vayne here. He always wants to pick it up, but doesn't often net him decent results.
I mean, look, he is 12 CS ahead. You can see from his posturing right now, he's looking aggressive.
There's the Flag and Drag to come through. Teleport in answer here as the Boomerang Blade doing lots of work onto Loveling. That Sidestone not doing work. Oh, the fantastic equalizer placement and that secures the kill onto Loveling. Sky's Rumble's fantastic.
You have to wonder why it took him so long to pick it up this season, because those equalizers show that the eyes of a measured Rumble player. They're Acorn-esque, someone who's mained Rumble for so long, but corralled against the wall. There was nowhere for Loveling to go. Wonderful play by Sky.
Yeah, that was fantastic. He had some questionable ones in the last game, but that more than made up for it. Perfectly placed in order to secure the kill just before Loveling could get out. Low continuing the pressure on this bottom side as Sky being forced to walk his way back to that top side of the map and going taking advantage of having some spare time with this top outer turret. It's going to fall down.
Yep, so equalize the turret pressure, and now, of course, this is the part where Sky has to be frustrated, but...
Oh, MLXG coming through. Oh, the double Nara in response here. Sky gets walloped as well, but Rumble too strong at this stage of the game. They turn it around, but going. You have to give him that. That was a good try.
There's always that small window for the huge turnaround by Na when they hit that transformation. It's often so close, but just not quite the burst damage coming out. Almost a story to write home for.
Oh, yeah, and if Sky hadn't have picked up that kill, may not have had the damage in order to do that one. Of course, going really putting his back into that. OMG now trying to capitalize, picking up another turret here on this bottom side of the map. Uzi doing some decent work as the minions start to crash against this one, but the bottom lane of King, they've made it just in time as the Dragon is about to start here as well. OMG already posturing around it.
They pick up the bottom turret. That's the second of the outer turrets. You have to think they'll rotate mid, but they'll stop in the middle for Dragon and pick it up, at least at the moment, uncontestedly.
Yep. Drive-by Dragon here, easily secured by OMG and King. It's as if they think that this is OMG's thing on the map and they don't have any right going near it because they haven't contested any dragons so far in this series.
And just look at the vision, though, coming out. The aggressive vision from, remember, the Sightstone before the Machete upgrade. Yeah. And the vision's never let down that side of the jungle. Uzi's been having trouble split pushing because there were situations where the game had snowballed away from OMG early and this never was the safe vision to be able to go for that 1v1. But Blade of the Rune can complete it at 14 minutes or so. Now split pushing with just an unbelievable amount of safe vision. No one can touch this Vayne in a split push.
Oh no, especially not with the Maokai at her back as well. Able to protect this Vayne from anything with these twisted advances. And that Vengeful Maelstrom, fantastic, because that's sort of a flat damage reduction that you don't need items for. Of course, Maokai doesn't necessarily need that many items to be useful. So, I don't know, I'm liking this support Maokai pick more and more the more I think about it.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the mana pool to go for the long 15-second ultimates right there. Can't keep the ult running, but smart timing, you know, smart decisions always a cornerstone of right balancing, but smart usage of that ultimate. He'll have just the flavor of a tanky frontline Maokai from the top lane, but on a budget.
Yeah, it's true. But King far further in this game than they were at this stage last time. I think it was inhibitors falling down at the 16-minute mark in game one. So King definitely holding on this time around, and you have to think that with Sky having his eye in on these equalizers as well as Assassin's Azir farming out very well. Now has a 12 CS advantage in that mid lane. Things are looking far better. Abyssal Scepter going to be the second item choice here from Cool. I like that one. Has to be Spirit Rushing in aggressively in order to get his damage down. So he's going to be in range for that item and gives him a lot of protection against the double AP.
And surprisingly, OMG, despite having 3 ranged auto attackers, have pretty poor siege. Of course, Vayne, fairly short range, has average range, but just isn't the greatest turret pusher. She's a wonderful split pusher. That's why we see her in the bot lane right here. Azir has excellent wave clear. There's a reason why we see Xerath versus Azir matchups almost every game with like 30-minute, 35-minute turrets falling. Just because he has such wonderful wave clear. And although Ahri is decent at taking turrets, she just can't outpush this Azir.
Yeah, and going just going to wander out of lane here, and King are just a little bit annoyed at the movements of this Na, who's about to transform back here as well. The Na, the double Na, yet again, gets the wallop this time as he crushes his way out. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we were complimenting Sky on his equalizers before. You can't melt down a mountain, man. It's not going to work out, and going escapes with his life.
Yeah, that was a slightly questionable equalizer right there.
Flag and Dragon to find MLXG here as the Empowered Bowler does miss. He's going to be forced to flash out of the way of that Cataclysm as going has found his way around here yet again. Cool's here as well. Such huge damage, and Spirit Rushes in the way for his Orb of Deception to pick up the kill. Beautiful Ahri play.
Yeah, I mean, not even able to take down this turret in mid just because he'd pushed out the wave just in time to roam and OMG, they do this so often. They have wonderful rotations of movement. Assassin has the Stinger, so he actually does a lot of damage to the mid turret, but he's going to have to make very quick evasive maneuvers after he picks it up.
Yep, the Arai is going to do some work helping him out on that one. Nice use of the WEQ combo to get himself the most distance over that wall as he possibly can. And again, Sky going for a very fast Leandries, does have the Sorcerer's Shoes now as well, and will have that arm guard built up very, very shortly. And when he gets that Zhonya's, you have to think that this Rumble is going to be a force to be reckoned with, but he has to get his eye in for these equalizers. He's had the most polarizing equalizers I've experienced thus far. Some of them completely genius, others leaving a little bit to be desired.
High highs and low lows.
A little bit like that. Is the charm actually going to land here? Emperor's Divide not going to find Cool. And his ultimate just came back off cooldown here as well.
I mean, the counter flash right there would be a big area of exploitation on an Ahri in previous patches, but of course, with the Q change, is so maneuverable anyway that between the ultimate and the Q, so many defensive options available for Ahri on this patch, and the damage, it's still huge.
Oh, it's most definitely huge. Hasn't even gone back to base yet as Liam. He's picked up a Magi's. This guy is more than happy just to chill back on his Janna and has a lot of faith in his team being able to pick himself up some assists as well. OMG continuing to clear vision and now grouping. They do this. They dictate exactly when the laning phase ends and they move around as a team and take down these objectives. You can see right now, Assassin has to do everything that he can to get rid of these creeps. As MLXG, he's actually popped the ultimate here. He's looking for prey. He's going to find Go Going, but he, of course, has that Banshee's Veil. The blue steel's going to come through. Cool's going to pick that one up and throw the hunt down, and nothing really gained here from King. They just lose a blue buff.
No, they thought he would get the engagement on a single target, but when he saw the people picking up blue, he realized they had to back away. Lower pops his ult. They might go in.
He's actually flash boosted advanced on top of MLXG here. It's a decent equalizer. King going to take low down very, very quickly, but MLXG falls to Uzi, who's tumbling around the back of this fight. Assassin now in with a lot of damage as Liam going to use that Monsoon to split up the battle. Sky comes in as well. Liam picks up a kill. That Magi starting to stack up as Sky in a lot of trouble. The last Silver Bolts proc to come through, but it's actually going to be the flash from Loveling to secure the kill. Here is Go Going. He manages to pick up a kill on the backside, and Assassin, he kills Uzi just before falling down, and Liam is just going to rocket out of this fight.
A long, unorganized fight right there. Fought on many different sides of the map. Janna stacking up the Magi, so paying off that purchase there for sure, but a lot more even than we thought, just given how the game's been going.
And Liam is so incredibly fast, he's going to spot out Loveling heading back towards his base. Even manages to get a Q down there as well. I mean, an E. And there's the Howling Gale. Is he going for the 1v1? Oh, the last auto attack, not quite enough. And Liam going for the power play on Janna.
He deserved better, Atlas.
He did. That was brilliant. I want to have a look at the... I think that Loveling will be typing in chat exactly how much gold.
So we watched the fight here. Of course, the difference with Loa being the support map is that he dies instantly at the start of the fight with all the space control. Lucian is really well corralled, but lives for so long because Uzi can't afford to overcommit, having used his flash and being at very, very low health. Sky in the front line will die in a very slow fashion right here. Actually blows the flash from Loveling because he miscalculates his damage. But the fight's still being fought on the other side just because Go Going is massive already on this now. Chases down Assassin, gets the Draco at the last second with Uzi, but it's just even across the board.
Yeah, and it was a really nice shield from Liam there as well to come through. Now has a few stacks on that Magi's. It's starting to do work as he picked up a kill and a couple of assists in that last fight. The gold's still very close, only about 1,500 in it. So OMG not having the lead that they had in the last game. Of course, the last game was over by about this stage.
Yeah, the last game was about the 22-minute finish. So MLXG's popped the On the Hunt again.
He's looking for something. Can't quite find it yet as he's actually going to launch himself here on the top side onto Loveling. But Loveling intelligently going for the tank jungle item here. We often see that warrior and champion, but not going to be the case this time. He wanted to be tanky a little bit earlier on, because that's going to be the final point of MLXG. He's going to be able to throw out those empowered bowlers now, as his Fury has hit the max.
The theory behind the Juggernaut here is basically that they have a hyper carry in Vayne, and the most important thing for a Vayne is for a frontline to stand up. With the tankiness of Gnar, of Jarvan, and even this Maokai adding tankiness to the extra members, makes a lot of sense to opt for the more tanky Juggernaut.
Yeah, and actually it's going to be the 2-item spike hit by Uzi as well. He has that Ghost Blade. Nice equalizer there to Coralgo going out of this fight low, trying to stand in the front, but he's so squishy. He's going to fall down eventually. And King managed to capitalize, and Going could not get into that battle at all.
Yeah, Loveling wasn't in the front lines. Actually was split away from his team there. So now King are able, they have position on pushing this mid turret. Jarvan has to walk all the way around just to try and help with any semblance of wave clear. Uzi goes to pick up the red, but they could lose a lot of damage on this mid turret.
Yeah, and King, they could even go and kill Uzi if they want to, but they want this inner turret. They are going to be able to pick it up.
Yeah, they're doing so much damage to it already in this game. 3 turrets after a turret shutout in the last game.
Yeah.
We talked a bit about how young these players are. They're going in the backline looking for the Corral. It doesn't have access to Mega Gnar yet. Despite their young age, they're still showing plenty of experience and playing this second game in the series after being blown away in the first very soundly.
Yeah, they're playing very well, able to bounce back from what was an utter defeat in that first match, and now King making decisive movements around this map and definitely looking like a different team coming into this one, which can be difficult to do, but OMG, it's 24 minutes into the game, and they're going to be starting the Baron.
Yeah, the pings come out from King, they realize what's happening, but there's so much Baron damage coming in, they have to go in and they have to commit.
Yeah, MLXG actually unable to use that ultimate because it did time out. The pink ward was there as well. Uzi's popped the ultimate there as well. There's the Blade of the Ruined King. So much damage onto Wushin already, but OMG haven't fully committed to this fight as Spirit Rush was used by Cool. Monsoon just going to try and heal up the members of King. That Majai's helping out as far as that's concerned. But OMG, they're going to disengage from this Baron, and King going to head back as well. Everyone's sort of having a little bit of a break from the aggression.
Uzi's Vayne always gives the fans the heart palpitations. He was actually the forwardest member of his team. Looked to be initiating the fight himself before he smartly backed away. They need to watch their engages because the space control and the counter engage coming out from Azir, followed by all the AoE damage of Rumble, and of course the On The Hunt, the thrill of the On The Hunt,
yeah.
the On The Thrill of the Hunt. I mean, all the other ways of putting those words around. There's a lot of potent move speed available in a fight. And if they see a counter engage here, King, they will go for it.
They will certainly do the best that they possibly can. But look, counter engage definitely fantastic from King as well with that Monsoon for the healing as well as the disengage. Oh, and Loveling actually looking for MLXG. Still very low on health. Doesn't... Oh, actually has that flash. Is going to be able to get out of the way of that one. But the Flag and Drag... Oh, Empress Divide just to try and stop this one. But Low going so deep onto MLXG. The equalizer just for fun. And they managed to pick up that kill. But Sky, he's going to fall down.
Yeah, Sky dies in the transition. He got the equalizer available, but completely got nuked by Cool's Ahri. It looks like they're going to try Baron once again.
Yep, Cool. OMG just in general really like going for that buff, but they are going for a cheeky play here. They have the vision control. Nothing King can do, and they really don't want Cool to take an easy Baron here. As Charm, oh, almost going to find land, but he's a bit too quick.
Yeah, Sivir was in the bot lane, had shown in the bot lane Wushin, so it was very viable strategy to try and rush down the Baron. They tried to cement it with a strong pick, but were forced away.
Unable to do it this time as Sky only 500 gold away from that Zhonya's Hourglass. He can be that golden flamethrower that we see often in the middle of these team fights, and we'll be able to play a little bit more aggressively on this Rumble, you have to think. As going, starting to build up some tanky items. Of course, does have that Banshee's Veil, but looking for that Randuin's, looking to be able to get in the face of Wushin and not really care about what he does to him. Cool. Going to be split pushing in this bottom side.
OMG kind of have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to the split push. Of course, Ahri can very quickly push out these minion waves. It's gone for the Abyssal Scepter, so the magic resist debuff on the minions means that his Q wave clear is even more impressive. Obviously, Vayne is built for split push between Blade of the Ruined King and the Youmuu's Ghost Blade. But it's going to be the cool split push. It's got more instant wave clear. Of course, he pushes the wave that much faster, so it makes sense for him to initiate the split push.
Yep, and Sky, he's going to walk to this inner turret. Of course, doesn't want to give away that teleport advantage, which he has. But cool, look at how much damage he does with all the ability power he has, now transitioning into tower damage. And that inner turret's going to go down. Successful split push from Cool, and OMG are just putting King on the ropes and making sure that they're playing OMG's game.
But for a team on the ropes to only be 700 gold behind, despite the global gold being in the advantage of OMG, tells you how smartly King have played this game. They've CS'd super well across the lanes. They've played this game very, very well. They just have to watch their engages. Specifically, MLXG has been a bit too trigger happy on the thrill of the hunt, and they haven't got the lockdown they'd expect.
Now, Uzi going to take away this Scuttle Crab as well and reassert dominance around this Baron area. OMG want to make sure that that is theirs. for the taking when they do manage to get the team fight that they want. King, however, more than happy just to scale up in this game. And as far as the late game, there's a lot of fantastic forces on both sides of the Rift as far as that late game power is concerned. I'm looking at the likes of Azir here, as well as, you know, Janna for her teamfight utility. Rumble can be fantastic with 6 items as well, but you look over the side of OMG, they've got Na, who can be just massive. Uzi's Vayne, it goes without saying how brilliant he's going to be coming into the later stages, and we're yet to see what a support Maokai does in the late game. But I'm excited to find out.
I'm sure you are there, Atlas. I do like the Uzi in this comp. Okay, the lane matchup's a bit unfortunate. You know, you don't want to opt into the Civ lane matchup. He did just fine, Uzi. Credit to him. The Vayne Maokai matchup that we alluded to earlier was successful. But the most important thing is that there's no real frontline here from King. But look, they're going to have to initiate a fight right now.
Yeah, they've discovered the dragon is in fact an objective that they can go for. Thrill of the Hunt was popped, but OMG are still committed to this dragon. MLXG, it's going to be a 50-50. He steals the dragon, and the fight is now on. OMG trying to get the damage down. Cool is going to eliminate Sky straight away. Lamb gets exploded, forced to flash away. Assassin with a brilliant Emperor's Divide, cutting this team fight in half. And King, they're somehow turning it around. Low is so low, and Wushin managing to get the damage. Uzi's dead. Cool, the last man standing with the damage, and going on the run. King, we've talked about the fact that their team fighting's brilliant. Hadn't seen it just yet in this series, and Wushin just gonna dive the turret for the final kill for King.
The space control and disengage both Assassin and Liam could provide the team was the difference between a one-team fight for OMG and the loss they suffered. And Uzi's Vayne, the team fights just don't work out for this Vayne. We haven't seen the split push come out, but in the team fights, dying to all the AoE incidental damage coming out from King. Hopefully we'll see a replay to track it, but it was a long fight, but the disengage really paid dividends for King.
Yeah, and Assassin's Azir play was so beautiful in that fight as well. He managed to use that Emperor's Divide just to make sure that OMG couldn't have their way with... just complimenting Assassin while he dies.
He used his gap close to get into the brush for the back. Cool spotted it. Nothing he could do.
No. As they're going to actually transition into a Baron here, OMG. 33 seconds are on Assassin. No vision available here for King. The teleport from Going just to add his damage. Those Hyperprocs doing actually a lot of damage to Baron here, and it's already at half health. King have spotted it out here, as well as Thrill the Hunt has been popped. Empowered Bowler not going to find Going here as well. But King have forced them off this Baron potentially. It's trying to reset. Baron's very confused about what it wants to hit, but now he's going to go back to sleep.
Yeah, so they back away from the objective again. A successful contest coming through for King. OMG, their game plan right now is kind of left open to debate. The Ahri split push we saw before was very, very successful, so they could return to doing that. Because Uzi's set up right now, has all the armor penetration, can duel basically anyone on OMG's side. That option's also available to them. The grouped fighting, I mean, we just saw King win a pretty decisive team fight win. I don't think that's OMG's strongest point of their comp, barring a really big pick or a really big charm coming out of Cool.
Yeah, and the 1-3-1 split push would be something that OMG would like to go with because, of course, Uzi, fantastic, like you mentioned. Cool, also good. As Sky's going to get caught out here just a little bit. Nice equalizer placement. Then he's going to use that Zhonya's to get out Scrap Shield to help him out. And survives the pick, and that was one of the good equalizers. Oh, actually, Cataclysm going to come through here as well. Emperor's Divide going to be used. Assassin, Zhonya's out of the way of all of the lockdown to come through. Low is going to be forced to flash away, but Cool with a beautiful Q. Going to go straight over the top of Assassin and remove him yet again. He just wants to play League of Legends, guys, and you're killing him way too much.
Yeah, it's the Emperor's Divide was on point once again. So was the Zhonya's, but just the amount of AoE damage coming from Cool meant that he just couldn't get away from that fight. Didn't have flash available. It's going to be the Baron rush down. Maybe this time they'll get it, but MXG, he's still trying to contest it.
He's trying to put the effort in. It's going down very low. He flashes in, but doesn't manage to get the steal, and the Condemn against the wall is going to punish that kitty, but it was a good attempt to come through from MLXG, and he would have felt confident after that Dragon steal, and OMG now with a Baron buff, able to push forward, and this is where they're in their element, the ability to effectively push turrets with extra abilities to do so. That's what they want.
And it's, usually I would question an attempted Baron steal like that, but he was level 12. He was equal in level, so it made sense to go for what was effectively a 50-50. He put down the ward. He had vision. There was every chance he could pick it up, but Loveling was steady on that smite ability. And King, they fall a little bit behind. Gets only 1,700 gold, and Cool and Uzi really, really overextended, but looking for a pick.
They're looking for some sort of pick. There's the final hour being popped here. Sky going to use that Zhonya's, dodges out of the way of the charm here as well as Assassin. He's discovered Uzi, who's just going to eliminate Sky. And OMG collapse onto their carries here as well. OMG own the jungle of King.
Yeah, going even split pushing the waves. Didn't even have to be involved in any sort of engagement right there. They back away here. Uzi goes back, picks up a Zeal, so the attack speed's definitely incoming. And Ari, she's looking very damn scary with those 3 items and so close to a death cap.
Yeah, and Cool's had one of his most fantastic series so far here. First on LeBlanc, now on Ari, looking so comfortable. Has only died once, I believe, in this whole series. And looking brilliant. Only with a slight CS advantage here against Assassin, who's Azir, despite the fact that he's died a few times, has looked great in the team fights. But Cool, able to get around this map and affect his lanes exactly the way he wants. And his roaming is just brilliant.
You run out of superlatives just for Cool's team play. His laning, it's always good, it's always solid. But his movement around the map, as you point out, his ability to play these Assassins and make plays is unlike anyone else in the world.
MLXG's popped that ultimate, launched himself into the backline. It's a decent flank, but MLXG's getting destroyed. He pops the Locket of the Iron Solari, but Uzi gets ripped apart, and Assassin trying to turn it around. Could it be King's opportunity as these Sand Soldiers are doing work on the lineup of OMG, and they have to back away?
Uzi's aggression on a short-range champion like Vayne is so often his demise. His win rate on Vayne, given all the hype you'd expect to be high, is actually his lowest of the standard AD carry pickups because he's just so priced in to go aggressively, utilize the short range. The damage potential, sure, it's massive, but he just dies in the AoE to the Azir damage.
And as Uzi comes back up again as well, so does the Dragon. Not going to have their AD carry for that potential fight as MLXG had gone back to base, picked up full health here as well, and going for that Randuin as quickly as possible. Liam going to get the wards down here as well, put as many as he can, so just spamming wards, just wants to press ward buttons, loves that stuff. MLXG now looking for an in here onto the Dragon. They've pulled it out of OMG. So we'll see whether MLXG is going to get his eye back in here as well. Assassins here, a lot of AoE potential from King. And now Wushin and Sky, the equalizers available. 2,000 health on the Dragon. Are they going to pull the trigger? King, they need to move now. He steals it yet again. And Loveling starts up the fight. The equalizer's right in the backside. And Uzi's trapped. He can't get any damage down. And King trying to deal with going now is Cool. He singled out Sky. Uses a really nice Zhonya's, but he's going to fall down. 2 members for none. And OMG somehow turn around that fight, but lose the Dragon.
Yeah, King did such a good job splitting threats that you thought they might take the team fight win there, but Cool was doing so much damage, he basically functions as a secondary AD carry. Loveling goes in too far, has to flash away, but King keep eating a couple of small deaths at the start of a fight, and it's swinging these fights towards OMG.
Yeah, and it's what happens when you don't have the massive tankiness of the likes of going on this Nard. Loveling building up so much health, and MLXG and Sky, they can't be that front line that King really need here, because Assassin, if he's in the backline, if he's able to do damage unhindered, he's going to tear OMG apart. It doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah, especially since OMG is initiating these fights. Azir loves to be initiated onto just because he has so much space control, but when Cool's as fed as he is, he does a lot of damage.
Yeah, speaking of which, he's actually going to miss that charm. Takes some tower hits as well as Assassin flashes over the wall, uses the Zhonya's here as well. Cool picks it up with a nice charm, and MLXG going to try and pick up the kill. Is the Q there? Yes, it is. The shutdown to come through from MLXG. 1 for 1 so far, but the fight continues as Sky trying to do some work, doesn't have the Zhonya's, and Uzi picks up that kill. Low gonna fall down in the meantime and lay him. Oh no, the Magi stacks, and he's gonna fall as Uzi picks up that kill. Wushin now gets flashed on, but gets destroyed, does Uzi. The Nah into the wall, going another double. And another pickup. That was beautiful. And OMG turned it around after an extended team fight.
Double Nah actually got the instant kill with the ultimate right there, which was massive from going. Uzi dies in the AoE again. That seems to be his Vayne standard, is to go too aggressive. He doesn't pay for it because the rest of his team is doing oh so well. 10, 2, and 5 is this Ahri. Boosting his kill score here is Going. He's just so tanky in the front line, and those base damages on Gnar, they can never be ignored.
Yeah, and he has that Hex Drinker and, of course, the Doran's Blade as well, augmenting that damage just a little bit, but you're absolutely right. Going is just a menace, and he's almost unkillable in these fights.
And he's going to go back. You know he's going to be working towards that Thornmail before too long to just shrug off basically all the damage on the enemy side. He actually finishes off the
Maw of Malmortius.
The Maw of Malmortius first, just to give himself a bit more damage. I mean, even if he's falling to 40% health and getting the AD bonus, he has such a big stack of health that that's still going to be relatively safe in a fight.
Yeah, he is. But on the other side of things, King, Wushin, he has picked up 4 items here on this Sivir. Going to be going for that defensive item. You have to think next. 6, 2, and 5 has had a good game. You compare that to the 6, 5, and 7 here for Uzi, who's probably had one of his better Vayne performances thus far in the LPL, but still not quite able to capitalize on his over-aggression like you'd think in those team fights.
And cool, he's going back to finish his Void stuff. He's actually 6 item.
Oh my goodness. This is a gigantic Ahri.
It's just a massively strong Ahri. So much consistent damage. They tried to nerf the assassination flavor of Ahri. Of course, it's 6 items. Still very much there. But the consistent damage and the ability to have so much mobility, even outside of ultimate, is kind of the trademark of this current Ahri. So they should be very, very scared here, King, over an extended fight, because they need to lock down Cool and kill him.
Yeah, and Going, we talk about him every OMG game as MLXG is actually going to try and find the fight here. The teleport immediately, and MLXG dies before anything happens. Emperor's Divide going to get everyone out of that Cataclysm as OMG just more than happy to be engaged on. And Going, what tower? He doesn't mind. Sun Turret not going to do anything.
Yeah, here's a Sun Turret, but completely shrugs away that damage. Baron's up again. They're going to go straight for it.
Yeah, with the jungler down here as well. No heroic steals going to come through from MLXG, and maybe a little bit of miscommunication, some frustration coming through from King perhaps, as MLXG didn't quite need to go that deep onto Loveling, who's a tanky guy, and this Baron is going to go down for free in favor of OMG. And King again find themselves heavily on the back foot. What was a very close game has turned into an 8,000 gold lead here for OMG.
They just lack any sort of lockdown for either Ahri or the Vayne. Vayne has QSS, so of course going to be very difficult to lock down. But cool, he is someone that could be sniped away and killed instantly even before he could Zhonya. But the setup CC is just the bowler strike. That's really all they have for CC.
Yeah, and we're having a look at where this gold lead lies. It's about a 9,000 gold lead at this stage. 5,000 of it is Going's lead over Sky. Going is so big, has a 120 CS lead on his lane opponent, and also this 4, 2, and 7 scoreline. He's looking so good on this Gnar as he just wanders through the enemy jungle. Not a care in the world.
And you're short of Maokai. The other 4 members on the OMG side have so much gap close, so much mobility, that they're able to get away from the Equalizer, and the build from Sky is basically Equalizer focused. The Equalizer does a lot of damage, but with the higher mobility, it's being shrugged off by OMG. They even have the Locket to give themselves a bit more magic resist. And look, unfortunately, Sky, he's just not doing anything on this Rumble.
Yeah, he's unable to really make it work. Of course, has had some hero Equalizers to change fights and pick up kills, but it's been a while since that last heroic one in the bottom lane, and the fight may have actually broken out here. Cataclysm going to come through as Loveling going to EQ himself out of it. MLXG doesn't quite have the flash. There's a beautiful wallop landing straight onto the members of King, and Cool is in this fight trying to do some work. Lamb's going to fall down already. Assassin very high on health, and look at the health bars of OMG. They're starting to get ripped apart by this Azir, and they're all flashing down. Assassin picks up low. Loveling trying to back with that empowered recall, and OMG have to back away from this dragon.
And dive into this King lineup, specifically dive into this 6-item Azir at your peril. So much space control. If he can ever set up the 2 Sand Soldiers, you dive in there. Uzi especially is just dying instantly to the auto attacks coming out from those Sand Soldiers.
Yeah, but it is now a 6-item Vayne, speaking of Uzi. He's picked up that Mercurial Scimitar. He's got to deal with 3 different activatables. Of course, his mechanics are fantastic, but I would be terrified to have to use that many buttons.
In terms of dragons, 3 dragons for OMG, 3 dragons, actually 3 each. You don't see this very often in competitive play.
Yeah.
Usually the dragons will snowball in one direction or the other, but that kind of lets you know how close this game is. It's taken a long time for this now 10,000 gold lead to come into the game, but the carries aren't under fun. That's the big thing here. Okay, there's a massive advantage in the top lane, but Rumble theoretically can do comparable amounts of impact in a team fight to go going if he gets the perfect equalizer. Of course, those haven't been coming, and there's a lot of mobility on King's side, but apart from that gold lead, very comparable across the other members.
Yeah, and Cool continuing that gigantic score here as well, 13, 2, and 5. They did win that last fight, but as far as the health bars were concerned, they did have to back away, so lost that third dragon, as you mentioned. The other two, they were steals from MLXG. Arguably, this could have been OMG on 5 dragons already.
He deserves the credit for the steals. He just struggled to make the Rengar pick work. They don't have the lanes to support a Rengar this game. They don't have the Lissandras of the world or the point-and-click CC like the Thresh, for example. It's so hard to make something when all the CC is required to come from this Rengar.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Liam, after falling down a couple of times, down to 6 stacks on that Mejai's Soul Stealer as well. Was doing fantastically well. Hasn't died too many times here. 2, 3, and 12. A decent score for Liam thus far in the game, but OMG now starting to stifle King out of resources. They still have a few wards along this map, but you can see OMG are just putting the pressure on, and there's almost nowhere King can go safely unless they have all 5 members, and we just know that OMG manages to turn around those fights.
45 minutes and still no inhibitor turrets down for King, so they do have a chance if they were to pick up a big team fight win to push in, get a counter inhibitor, and actually be ahead on minion movement, which would be a super surprise given how the game's gone so far.
Yeah, King actually now looking for OMG, who are trying to back away in the King jungle. They're going, might be caught out here just a little bit. Sapling going to stop this one from coming through. Thrill of the Hunt was utilized. Not going to find the bowler though. King going to have to back away from this one, but it was a good attempt to try and start something. And King need to be making assertive moves, otherwise they're just going to slowly lose this game.
Watching the minion waves across the map, they're not pushing decisively for OMG yet, so that buys King even more time. They've got no outer turrets, but there's no Baron or Dragon at the moment to try and compete for, so they can happily wave clear, pick up more CS. Wushin is so close to being item capped to match Uzi. And look, the AoE coming out of the Sivir, given how Vayne's been dying to AoE herself, she might actually be putting out more damage in these fights.
Yeah, it's terrifying. But the one thing I gasped about before we had King try and start something there on the top side of the map was Going went back and sold a Doran's Blade and picked up a Warmogs.
So he's got a bit of tanky stats.
Yeah, bit of tanky stats. It's 6 off.
Let's check him out. He's sitting at the comfortable 4,000 health in mini Gnar form, of course.
mini Gnar. Yep.
So he'll get the stats. He's got 237 magic resist. So
Gentleman's 237, of course.
He's kind of a beast.
He's kind of a big deal. Of course, Going often kind of a big deal, but you can see all of those marks. Kind of looks like a piano, doesn't it? His health bar, almost a full piano of health.
It does.
Loveling as well, doing fantastically. Does have that Locket of the Iron Solari. The Ruby Sightstone as well as that Randuin's.
I mean, the two threat comp from OMG, it's Ahri and Vayne, and they do put out a lot of damage, but Uzi's kind of been dying pretty early in these fights, and there's so much lifting being left to cool, that especially when blue buff is down, as there is right now, he might run out of mana in these extended fights, and there's a lot of damage sources coming out from this King side.
Yeah, an Assassin, if he's left up to do some work, which he hasn't in the last couple of fights that OMG have managed to win, then things could be going definitely badly. This is, of course, a 6-item Assassin here on this Azir. Thrill of the Hunt has been popped. MLXG decides just to stand around because he likes being invisible for a bit. Can't quite find his way in. Does land an Empowered Bowler onto Cool. Boomerang Blade going to take half of his health here as Going. He's been singled out. Getting burnt down, of course, with that Warmogs. It makes that Leandri's Torment a little bit better. 3 Sand Soldiers just smashing him down. Does jump his way out of there, but now their most tanky member not going to be available for the next fight, and Baron is up in 1 second. Going. Forced to go back here, but has the teleport, and King, will they be baited into this one because that teleport is going to be available? They're actually going to start up the Baron. It may not necessarily be the best decision, but it's getting destroyed. No vision for OMG. And Loveling, he comes in, he steals it! And OMG start the fight, the equalizer to break things apart. Uzi's getting burnt down here, forced to flash over the wall, and Assassin gets a decent Emperor's Divide, but Sky falls down. MLXG falls down. A double kill for Uzi, as Assassin just going to be trying to back in a safe location. Going comes around and says, guys, stop doing this to me. I'm going to stop you from backing. And King, they're waiting in this brush. Wushin gets shielded up here as well. Tries to find Cool. Assassin going to fall down from Going, though. Wushin's going to die at the same time. And OMG get the team fight finally that they're looking for. As Uzi says, I don't even care about my team. I just want to take an inhibitor.
For once, Uzi's not bloodthirsty for kills, but again, Loveling deserves all the credit. The blind steal, the EQ into Smite, it won them the game. They took a decisive team fight after it. Uzi says, okay, let's just finish this game. I've had enough of this Vayne. And they're going to win it, OMG.
Yeah, beautifully played by OMG, but King managing to bounce back from an utter defeat, pushing this one out to 48 minutes when at 35 minutes in this game, there was about 700 gold in it. So the younger lineup definitely looking fantastic, and we'll see how they evolve as the weeks of the LPL progress.
It'll be one of those situations where they'll move into the next series. Okay, they've lost this one 0-2, but there's a lot to take away from that second series. They were even in Dragons for a lot of the game. The steals were on point from MLXG before the decisive, of course, steal. The Baron steal came out from Loveling, but they showed good strategical play. They were in the game. They were even in goal for, what, 30 minutes of the game? But OMG turned on the style, and especially Cool went massive that game, as we're going to just jump into a replay. So to see a replay right here, it's right at the end. So of course, this will be the last decisive team fight. Just look at this map. There is absolutely no vision on this Baron. There's no scrying orb available either. It's already been used by Vayne. So that's what makes this steal all the more impressive as we roll the tape. They try and rush it down. Loveling shows up and like, yep, this is for me. Yeah, she's good. They start the fight. It's a good equalizer splitting across the team. But Sky tries to get on top of Uzi. And Uzi, for once, is able to do some relative free hitting. The first crit is massive. The charm comes on to Rengar, and then Uzi's like, all right, I'm going to try and finish this game. He's had enough of the team fighting.
Yep.
He's going to head straight for the base. Going, he's been in the front. We saw him burn down so fast to focus fire, but in a fight like this where he's been able to just build up the rage happily himself, OMG, they're mostly focused, honestly, about stopping the backs. They give up on him here. They don't need to worry about him. And from there, they finish the game.
Yep, beautiful play coming through from OMG, but you have to hand it to King, putting it to OMG at this stage. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was our final game of the night. On behalf of myself, my lovely friend Papa Smithy, Julian, Pastry Time Car, and our whole production crew, thank you very much for watching.